Every poem is challenging, and I think that I say this a lot to my students. I don't believe we have anything to say. I believe a poem has something to tell us. We're no smarter, no deeper, no wiser than anyone else on this planet. Everybody else walking around has known loneliness, joy, despair. We're just people who feel compelled to sit and try and find language for those states. One of the great lessons I've learned over the last 30 years is Stanley talks about key images and how every poet holds in her heart, kind of key images or key concerns. And for example, I've been trying to write in the voice of Magdalene for 30 years. 30 years I've been trying. Every year I try again and again, and I failed. It didn't happen. I wrote other books, wrote other poems, and then finally, a few years ago, one day, she started talking about the 7 devils she was possessed by, and it just came out. I made a few changes, but suddenly, after all those years, this voice was there. And it was amazing, and I felt like all those false starts were all part of it. 30 years of false starts and abandoning them because they just didn't go anywhere didn't mean that they were wasted. The psyche has to sort of ripen or grow to become receptive to the voice that wants to speak to it. And sometimes we just have to grow up or grow into the person who can receive it, if you know what I mean. And that is a wonderful feeling when you're in for the long game, and Stanley's a great example of that. He wrote his best poems in his 80s and 90s, in my opinion. And or the poems wrote him, whatever. But that's what I hold to as truest, is that what wants to come through us, we have to become, by study and by reading, we can make more and more, I say to my students, kind of inlets into our psyche so that a poem can actually arrive somewhere. Our job is to try to keep enlarging the possibilities within it, syntactically, diction-wise, every way, so that the poem can find a place to arrive. If we stay contained and narrow, it can't.